What is the greatest Superman movie of all time? Welcome back, everyone. I just want to talk about my ranking for Superman. I feel like I'm a little late for this, just a little late to the party. I watched all the Superman movies leading up to the 2025 James Gunn Superman, and I decided it is time to rank them all. If you want, you can check out all my reviews down below of every single Superman movie that I have watched. Justice League does not count because it's not a Superman movie. It's a Justice League movie. I don't have Justice League on here, but I do have all the rest. I don't know how deep I'm going to go into each one of them, but I'm going to talk about each movie from worst to greatest, and let's start it off with number 8, Superman 4, the last Christopher Reeves movie. Now, I really like Christopher Reeves as Superman. There's a reason why everyone says he is the GOAT. But this movie is not very good. It's actually the shortest one on this list. It's an hour and a half long. And essentially, I'm going to sum it up the best way. The Cold War. Superman goes to the UN. I think it's the UN. I'm spacing out right. But he goes to the UN and says, "We are done with wars. No more bombs." Everyone is like, yeah, all right. So everyone just gets rid of bombs, and then like these rich guys talk to Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor's like, "Nah, I'll hook you guys up." And he gets like this weird ripoff of Superman that gets like really long Freddy Krueger claws. It's so bizarre. This is basically a anti-war movie about the Cold War that was happening during the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. For a long time. That's what this movie's about, and it's awful. It's really, really bad. It's the shortest one of all the Superman movies that I have on this list, and it's just bad. That's why it's number 8. Number 7 on this list is actually pretty close. I think I spent I think it was like a 15, almost 20 minute video about this movie. So I'm going to make it kind of short just because all these movies I've really said my opinion about. Number 7 is Batman vs. Superman. So going into this movie, I remember in theaters, I was actually pretty hyped about this movie. I actually was more hyped about Batman vs. Superman than I was for Captain America Civil War, just because at that time, Marvel was at its peak, clearly, but the hype behind this was really, really good. Problem is with this stupid movie is the amount of spoilers we're getting in the trailers. Now, a lot of movies nowadays just show you the whole movie, and sometimes there's a little bit of minutes like, I think Batman vs. Superman started that trend, and you got to see Doomsday in it, Wonder Woman, and the first trailer to Batman vs. Superman was so good because he got really excited because it's the first time you get to see Ben Affleck as Batman, the return of Henry Cavill, and then he did such a good job at making you think this is a Batman vs. Superman movie. And then it kept showing you more and more and more to the point where you felt like you've seen the movie. So then when you watch the movie, you're like, this movie is awful. It's almost 3 hours long. And it's just the whole time the movie is Batman is mad at Superman for killing people. But Superman is mad at Batman for killing people. And Lex Luthor wants Superman to obey him, but he also wants to kill Superman. Lois Lane is doing random detective stuff that makes no sense in this movie, and then Doomsday is just randomly there to kill Superman, and Wonder Woman's there to show the Justice League. It's such a mess of a movie, and it's just really, really bad, and it was a disappointment. And after I saw it, I was like, alright, I gotta rewatch all these movies. I didn't have to do it for James Gunn Superman, but I did it because, for one, I just wanted to watch Superman movies, and I wanted to do this video anyways, just because I like doing ranking videos. I've only done 2 now, so I was like, we're doing this one. Wow, this movie is rough. It was a really, really bad movie. I would actually put this as the worst movie, but Infinity Crisis is really stupid, and it's just, that one's just awful. God awful. This one's really bad because it's just, the buildup of this one made it really bad, but Infinite Crisis is just the worst. I think it's not Infinite Crisis. It's something about Crisis on Earth or something. The last Superman 4. Awful. I don't remember the whole title of the movie. That's how bad it is. Batman vs. Superman, number 7. So 5 and 6, the more I think about it, they could be flopped. It just really depends on the day. But number 6 on this list is Superman Returns. I guess Superman 5 because it is a sequel to the original 4 Superman movies. This one, I've never seen this one all the way through. And I decided when I was doing my Superman rewatches, I was like, this is going to be kind of fun. Usually when people talk about Superman movies, this is one that kind of gets left in the dust, it feels like. Because everyone's like, Christopher Reeves, his Superman movies, and you got Man of Steel, and no one talks about Superman Returns. I can't remember who played Superman in this movie. That's the worst part about it. But there's a couple scenes in this movie that is pretty good. I like the airplane scene the most. That one was freaking gangster. The problem is with this movie is it's dull. There's not a lot of crazy scenes in this movie that really makes you go, wow. The acting is kind of dull. You don't really notice the difference between Clark Kent and Superman, and Lois Lane is just like not the greatest, and Superman has a kid that he basically just like hit it and quit it with Lois, and then he dipped out to go find his like self. Like he went to go find other Kryptonians and seeing if if Krypton was actually destroyed. Was interesting. And he came back like 5 years later, and it just was such a weird movie that I just was like, this is so boring in a way. And then, you know, Lex Luthor was not the greatest either. It was just kind of a letdown of a movie. So going into it, I didn't have high expectations, but I also didn't have low expectations going into this movie. I just kind of accepted this is probably not going to be a very good Superman movie. There's a lot of times where people do talk about some of the cool scenes in this movie, which I do agree. Like I said, I think the best scene of this whole movie is the airplane scene. After that, the rest is really, really bad. I just never liked it. And I'm noticing when I started watching all these Superman movies, besides the first two Superman movies, a lot of people really just didn't understand Superman, and they really tried to push the envelope with Superman a lot, and a lot of the times it just never worked out. Number 5 on this list is Superman 3, Christopher Reeve's third Superman movie. This one was really weird. It was taking place where Superman went back to Kansas for the whole movie. Lois Lane was not in it, except for like the first 5 minutes. She left. And that was because of contract issues. And then you had a comedian in it that was like taking money from a rich business, and then they used him to like do some like computer things to like warp the world so the rich guy could be in charge of it, and Superman was just hanging out in Kansas with this some random girl. It was just so weird and also super forgettable. That's how I kind of thought about it. Like after I watched it, I was like, what kind of happened in this movie? Nothing truly happens in it besides Superman has like a crisis. Like I actually thought it was Bizarro at first, because Superman has like a breakdown of him just not being a hero because of the movie, and Superman is like dressed up as Superman, and he's just like sits at the bar and just doing his own thing. You have kids who are like, you were Superman, I looked up to you. So then he went to a junkyard and kind of like separated into Clark Kent and Superman, and they like fought each other. No joke, I literally thought this was with Bizarro. I legit thought, oh, the main villain is Bizarro, not some rich dude that just doesn't like Superman. It's such a weird movie. Like Superman hooks up with this random girl in it. It's just so bad. And I just did not like it. And like I said, it's super forgettable. I think the only scenes that were cool was when Superman was fighting himself in the junkyard. And I get it. It was like a metaphor that Superman was like literally fighting his own demons. But I just thought it was a really bad movie. Like I literally was like, what am I watching? Especially getting off of the high notes of watching Superman 2, I was like, I think Superman 3 is gonna be fun. My coworker told me Superman 4 is the worst one, which he was not wrong. It's definitely the worst one, but I was like, Superman 3 might not be that bad. It was alright. Very forgettable. The Final Four. It's just like a basketball game, except we already know what's probably number 1. And we might know what's number 2. But number 4 is Man of Steel. This movie, oh my gosh, till this day, you have people still fight over like Henry Cavill as Superman. Look, everyone who loves Henry Cavill, he's never coming back. It's clear, he's never coming back. Warner Brothers has screwed him over too many times. He was a decent Superman. He was just poorly directed because, well, Snyder was a poor director for Superman, and that's the truth. I think Henry Cavill could have been a really, really good Superman, but he didn't have that potential because he was so restricted by the bad screens, bad scripts, bad writing, bad direction, just bad everything besides him. And that's why there's like memes, like it's a cycle effect for Henry Cavill. He's perfect for this role, and then everyone else just sucks. Look what happened with him for The Witcher. It just really sucks because Henry Cavill is the definition of a nerd, and he is a really good actor. But Man of Steel is number 4 on this list. There's a lot of elements in Man of Steel that I do like, but the problem is there's so many things for build up for this movie that just doesn't feel like it's a payoff. Like the first time I see Superman fly for the first time, I should really feel, wow, he earned it. He wanted to do this, but it never felt like that throughout the whole movie. The most of the time the movie is about him. It's about, you know, who he identifies as. He's trying to figure out who he wants to be in this world, which I really like that message. And I think that's a really good message for Superman in general. But with this movie, holy crap, it's just never feels like a payoff. His dad's like, maybe you should let those kids die, even though Superman's like, oh, you should have let those kids die. And he's like, maybe. Superman could have saved his dad from the tornado, but his dad's like, nah, just let me die. It makes no sense. And then you have parts where Superman fights the Kryptonians. It just looks like a Dragon Ball Z fight for the second half of this movie because they destroy the whole city. Even though Superman snapped Zod's neck like that because he was trying to prevent death, even though in Batman vs. Superman, he literally kills people. So I can't. If I keep getting mad about this, Man of Steel is going to go right down to the bottom. Like, there's elements of Man of Steel that I do enjoy for the movie. But, oh my gosh, it just really sucks because Henry Cavill just is so shafted. It really makes me sad because I like Henry Cavill a lot. I think he's such a great actor, but oh my gosh, it just makes me so sad. I thought about making a video in the future talking about like the failure of the Snyderverse because it was a big failure. Everyone's talking about how popular and how good it was, but it still was a failure. There's a reason why they stopped making his movies for, DC. So there's that. Number 3 on this list is James Gunn's Superman. I actually really like this movie. It kind of resurged the feeling of the first time I watched Superman 1 and 2 with Christopher Reeves. It really brought back that feeling of hope that I felt like Superman has been missing for a long time. Like, when I look at Superman, I wasn't the biggest fan of Superman because every single time I watch Superman, everyone, he's just a god. And that's it. He has no character. But that's because the movies before didn't really portray it of him being someone more than that. So when I watched Superman 1, Superman 2, and then this Superman movie, it really opened my eyes to see, wow, I see why people like Superman. And this movie does that. It really does bring up the human side of Superman. He does an awesome speech at the end of the movie to Lex talking about how he's human. It was really inspiring, and the whole movie is about him just finding out who he is. Like I said, it's a really big trend for Superman is just finding out who he is as a character, as a man, as a human being in general. Watching that movie, it really did. There was a couple scenes where I felt a little teary-eyed because it was like, oh man, that really hits home. And a lot of people that I was seeing that they would talk about how much they liked this movie, everyone said the same thing. This movie gives you hope. And I think that's a really important thing in movies in general, especially superhero movies. And the best part is, the Superman actually saves people. And literally, like, people don't die. And there's people that are like, oh, well, the building was crashing. You're telling me Superman didn't save those people? They all probably died. And it's like, well, I mean, they purposely did things where it's like, well, they did say, hey, people need to leave the city because of this happening. So I'm just saying, he did save people. He even saved a squirrel. That was pretty cool. James Gunn's Superman is number 3 on this list. 1 and 2, I feel like, is pretty obvious, especially number 1. But number 2 on this list is Superman 2, the Christopher Reeves movies. Let's go! Superman 2 is really good. I realized that Man of Steel is inspired. I felt like Man of Steel was actually a combined movie from Superman 1 and Superman 2 in a blender. This is where General Zod, they hint at General Zod in Superman 1. Like, the first 20 minutes of the first movie is just whatever. It's just info dumping, essentially. So then Superman 2 is where General Zod's there. And the cool part is Superman's like comfortable and he understands what he has to do as a character. But General Zod, as soon as he figures out he has powers, he's like, I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to become a freaking unit. Him and the rest of the Kryptonians are like, let's go. And throughout the whole movie, Superman is battling issues with Lois. Lois thinks that Superman is, well, Clark Kent. This really plays a lot where Superman's willing to sacrifice his own self as Superman to be Clark Kent, to be with Lois. Now, I don't really like that. I feel like that's a little bit of a cheese in the movie. I feel like that was a little 50-50, but it still plays off pretty good because then at the end, Superman realizes, I have to make sacrifices as a hero in order to save the planet. And that's when he reverses it, and Lois Lane forgets everything that happened between her and Clark, and she just stays in love with Superman, but not with Clark. And Superman fights General Zod. Granted, I mean, the battle's not amazing. If you compare it to Man of Steel, it's not going to be nearly as close, but Superman does save everyone. That's a very important thing. He does protect everyone and make sure no one gets hurt. That is a very, very important thing that I think every time you make a superhero movie, that should be a goal. Just saying. A lot of people are like hateful on that, but it's like, I get it. There's some scenarios sometimes the hero can't save everyone, but the main goal for a hero is to try and protect the innocent. Number 1 on this list is Superman, the original. I mean, was it that obvious? Yeah, it probably should be. It's literally the best Superman movie. It's with the best Superman. I think, honestly, the newest one, the James Gunn one, has the best Lois Lane. I like her a lot as Lois Lane. I think Lois Lane from the original one is really good. There's a reason why people say Christopher Reeves is Superman. He just is. He embodies every single thing you want as Superman. And the way that he plays Clark in Superman, holy crap. The rest of these Superman characters, the rest of these actors need to watch some more of these movies to learn. I never really think about it, but when you watch the movie, you can tell the difference between Clark and Superman. You would never believe when you meet Clark, like this Clark, this is Superman. You would never believe it. The way that he hunches his shoulders and he's like slouched a little bit, and the way even his voice is slightly different. Just how Clark acts. He's very innocent. He's very awkward. He's very weird. He's just very shy and uncomfortable all the time. And then when he's Superman, he's everything the opposite. And you're like, holy crap. And the other thing is, he is such a Boy Scout, is when he gets his paychecks, he makes sure to send half of his paycheck back home to his mom, which is just such a wild move. Like, I kind of wish I had that power to be able to be like, all right, half this is going to you, Mom. I really wish that. But that Superman really gives me hope and wanting to be a better person because of Christopher Reeves as Superman. And this movie is just really good. The Lex Luthor was really good. Just everything about this movie is awesome. It just makes you feel so freaking good. And I really like this movie. But to go over the rankings one more time, we have number 8 on this is Superman 4. Number 7 is Batman vs. Superman. Number 6 on this list is Superman Returns. Number 5 on this list is Superman 3. Number 4 is Man of Steel. Number 3 is Superman 2025. Number 2 is Superman 2. And number 1 is Superman. And, of course, we're going to go over this real quick. If I want to rank the Superman, let's do this too. Alright, so my least favorite one is Brandon Roth. From Superman Returns, I literally had to Google what his name was. I think he looks like Superman, but oh man, I just didn't really, I didn't feel like, oh yeah, this is Superman. Sadly, I'm gonna have to put number 4 is Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill himself could be a really good Superman. Bad directing, bad writing, and it's gonna really screw the pooch. And number 2 is David Cornsweet. I literally saw Christopher Reeves. Like, there was a lot of elements of Christopher Reeves in this. I think the only thing that is holding David Cornsweet as being a really, really good Superman is we didn't get to see enough as Clark Kent, and we didn't get to see enough of that. It kind of is like when you watch The Batman and you just never see Bruce Wayne, you just only saw Batman. That's how I felt when I saw Clark Kent for David Cornsweet. And of course, number 1 is the GOAT, Christopher Reeves, aka the GOAT for Superman. Like, if you had, I think if people put like Mount Rushmore for like superheroes of like GOATed for each one, you would probably, a lot of people are gonna put Tobey Maguire up there for Spider-Man. Then you have Christopher Reeves Superman. Batman, I feel like it's very tossable. A lot of people are gonna have Keaton, Affleck. So we're not gonna do Batman. I plan on doing a giant Batman review in the future, but you have those two, and then you have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. So it's like, yes, you have some GOATs for certain positions. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. The Mount Rushmore, just saying. Those are it. Just putting it out there. If I had to sit back and really think about it, I think Superman has been a great, fun franchise. There's a lot more duds than there was like wins, but I still had fun with the franchise watching it. Would I watch them again? Not all of them. I would watch Superman 1, 2, and probably James Gunn Superman again. Those were really fun to watch. I might watch Man of Steel eventually again. Who knows? Just have to see how I feel. But in general, though, I really did enjoy watching his movies. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. What did you guys think of my ranking for Superman? Do you agree with what I said about any of these Superman movies? Why do you think Henry Cavill is the best Superman? I would love to know down below. And why is Man of Steel the best Superman movie? I already know. You got the Snyder fans out there. They're gonna attack you for having a different opinion. Anyways, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe.